As hearing loss worsens, hearing and understanding others becomes more difficult, which can lead to isolation. There's also associated with this depression and dementia and heart problems. Like other effects which may impact your life away from the workplace is the loss of enjoyment of sounds which you want to hear, such as music or the voice of a loved one. Tinnitus, which I mentioned earlier, may also cause a disruption in sleep and concentration and is associated with both depression and anxiety. So now that you have a better understanding of hearing loss and how it affects people, let's look at what must be done in the workplace to prevent hearing loss. First, there are requirements which an employer must implement in order to prevent exposure. These prevention requirements are legislated in the Occupational Health and Safety Act of 1993 and the Noise-Induced Hearing Loss Regulations of 2003. The OSH Act requires an employer to provide and maintain a work environment which is safe and without risk to the health of their employees. An employer can strive to achieve this by implementing the following legislated requirements: conducting a risk assessment which looks at noise in the workplace, conducting area and personal monitoring for noise, identifying control measures to be implemented to reduce noise exposure, as well as implementing these controls through an action plan. Demarcating noise zones where noise levels are 85 decibels or higher. If you're unsure if your workplace is a noise zone, a rough indication is that if you raise your voice to speak to someone at arm's length, then it's likely to be around 85 decibels. Provide audiometric tests for employees exposed to noise. Assess and maintain control measures implemented. Training of employees on noise and its effects, sources of exposure to noise in your workplace, and the control measures implemented. And lastly, providing hearing protection devices to employees which enable to reduce noise to below 85 decibels. Okay. Should your employer not be implementing the requirements of the legislation, please speak to your health and safety representatives or your union officials about concerns you have with what your employer is doing in your workplace for reducing noise exposure. However, as employees, we are also responsible for our own health and safety, as well as the health and safety of our colleagues in the workplace.